Hey folks, welcome back to SupeRonpoNatural, the series where I recap and review every single episode of Supernatural. My voice is a bit sore right now, so if it sounds weird, I apologize, but I gotta get a video out. Before I hop into this video, two quick things. First, I feel really icky sharing my own stuff, but it really does help to get eyeballs on the videos, and I work really hard on them, so I would like some more eyeballs. So if you have a moment and you're a part of any group that might appreciate these videos, I'd really appreciate it if you would share it so I can get a few more views. Second, I think it'd be fun, maybe funny, to have a series where I read a bunch of fanfics, so if you've written any and you'd like me to read them aloud, pop me an email at SupeRonpoNatural@hotmail.com. Really double check the spelling there, because there are some letters that are shared. But keep in mind, it'll be done largely tongue-in-cheek. I won't be taking it super seriously, but the silliness is part of the fun. Also, they can't be explicit, because YouTube doesn't like that. As a general rule, if it would fly in Supernatural on the show, it'll fly for this. With that out of the way, it's time to hop into Season 1, Episode 11, Scarecrow. Side note, in case you're wondering about my getup, first of all, it was Halloween a few days ago, so it works out pretty well. But second of all, Scarecrows have a special place in my heart, because I met my girlfriend in grade 10 when I was playing Scarecrow in The Wizard of Oz. And now that girlfriend is my pregnant wife. Time sure flies. So yeah, this is the Scarecrow costume I wore in grade 10, in case you're wondering. It's a themed episode. Anyway, we're in a small town in Indiana 1 year ago. A young couple had gotten lost and everyone has been super nice to them. The guy asks what the catch is. I think it's safe to say it's a big one. A random question, would this tattoo be considered a sleeve if it's that small, or do sleeves have to take up most of the arm? Let me know in the comments, I'm not cool enough to know these things. They give the couple directions and they leave. Then their car dies, and they have no cell signal, so they wander through the creepy orchard. Though it's weird because it's supposed to be an apple orchard, but they don't look like apple trees. They see a scarecrow. Okay, its head definitely moved. Was that intentional, or did the guy inside it accidentally move? They check out the scarecrow, make the obvious Wizard of Oz reference. Its head moves. The babe sees it obviously move, but doesn't really do anything for some reason. I guess she thought she was seeing things. They start hearing stuff, and they start running. Suddenly the guy disappears without a sound, which is bizarre. More sounds, but nothing can be seen. The babe trips, sees her boy toy has had his face torn off. She screams, then she dies too. Finally, they started putting the title of the episode on the screen. It's weird that it took them 11 episodes to start doing that. Oh, it's that scene from last episode where Sam gets the call from their dad. Dad still won't tell them where he is, which, as you know, bugs me, but whatever. Says he's hunting a demon that killed their mom and that he's sorry about Sam's girlfriend. He tells them to stop looking for him. Good boy Dean grabs the phone and writes down some names like Daddy wants. Turns out the names are names of couples who went missing. They were all taking road trips but disappeared at some point, and they all went through the same part of Indiana on the second week of April. And as luck would have it, it's the second week of April now. I mean, in the show, it's hard to describe that kind of thing. So they're off to try to save whoever is set to die this year. But Sam says no. He wants to go to California instead, because that's where their dad called from based on the area code. But Dean's like,
he's given us an order.
Because of course that's what he says. Sam's frustrated that Dean has such blind faith in their dad. Dean calls Sam selfish. And honestly, while I sass Dean for being such a daddy's boy, I definitely lean more towards the Dean side of things. I don't like being told what to do in general, but I'm a real glutton for approval from people I respect. I was a real teacher's pet growing up. Anyway, Sam walks off because he wants to go to Cali, and Dean drives away to do what his dad told him to do. Dean arrives at the small town we saw in the cold open. He thinks about calling Sam, but decides against it. Too stubborn. He walks up to a guy and introduces himself as John Bonham, being unnecessarily suspicious, and the guy instantly calls him out. He asks about the missing people, saying they're friends of his, but the guy says he hasn't seen them. Back to Sam. He walks up behind a woman with headphones in and grabs her shoulder. I mean, come on, man, walk around in front of her. Are you trying to freak her out? Luckily, he's cute, so they flirt it up a bit, then a trucker stops. But he only wants to take the gal. Classy fella. I sure hope he gets his comeuppance later. Back to Dean. He's asking the family from earlier about the missing people. The older couple feign ignorance, but the girl blabs that they had stopped by. Then the guy says they stopped by for 10 minutes, got directions, and left. So, Dean's off searching. The EMF meter goes off. Dean heads into the apple orchard full of hazelnut trees. He checks out the fugly scarecrow. He notices a patch of skin that has the same tattoo as the one missing guy. Ugh, gruesome, that's some Jeepers Creepers stuff. Dean heads back to town and chats with the girl who turns out to actually be the niece of the two older people who took her in at 13 when her parents died. That would explain why she didn't seem to know to lie about the missing people. She talks about how the town seems to be blessed. Nearby towns are facing hardships, losing their homes, but their town is doing great. It's all starting to come together. Also, her name's Emily. Dean brings up the scarecrow, but she doesn't know anything about it. Then Dean notices the car being repaired and learns it belongs to a couple. Uh-oh. Back to Sam, who's getting sassed by the lady at the bus station for not having a car. which seems a bit unnecessary. Now it's his turn to almost call his brother, but who does he see? Cute pixie cut girl. She says she cut the trucker loose when he got too handsy. Keep that phrasing in mind for later. Turns out they're both going to California, but the bus doesn't leave until the next day. Sam learns her name is Meg. Back to the young couple. Suddenly the surly guy in front of the store is all sweet and charming when he's talking to the couple. Dean chats with them and learns that the guy at the gas station told them their car had a problem they didn't know about. And he thinks the guy is lying. Dean thinks that too, especially when he learns that the car will be fixed by sundown, which is oddly vague yet oddly specific. Dean offers to fix it faster, hoping to save them from whatever the townspeople have planned, but they understandably trust a mechanic over a weird chatty stranger, albeit one with pretty eyes. Anyway, Dean sketches them the hell out and realizes sometimes it helps to have Sam around. Then the sheriff asks for a word and escorts him out of town. Back to Sam, who's still flirting it up with Meg. She dishes about her family issues. You know, overbearing parents telling her what to do, so she went off on her own. Which, to be fair, probably isn't all that uncommon among young female hitchhikers, but it's awfully coincidental how closely it mirrors Sam's own story. I mean, it's probably a coincidence. Anyway, they toast to living their own lives. Back to the young couple. They too are being stalked by the Scarecrow in the apple orchard that isn't an apple orchard. The Scarecrow hooker starts walking after them, they run, and Dean pops out and starts shooting the thing. And this kind of bugs me because the speed of the Scarecrow is super inconsistent. In the cold open, the thing seemed supernaturally fast and stealthy, snatching and flaying the guy quickly without even making a sound, but now he's just walking and breathing heavily. This kind of thing happens all the time in shows like this, and it bugs me. Anyway, they get away. Back to Sam. Dean finally got up the courage to call Sam, and he's telling him about the Scarecrow. He even admits that he needs Sam.
I can't cope without you, you know.
And honestly, props. That takes guts. Dean thinks it's related to a fertility rite, with the couples being sacrificed to some pagan god to help their crops. Sam's like,
if you're hinting you need my help, just ask.
And I'm like, bro, he's beyond hinting. He's basically doing the Winchester version of begging. Go to him! But Dean plays it cool and tells Sam to live his own life. Says he's proud and admires Sam for doing his own thing. And this is probably my favorite heart-to-heart of the entire show so far. I'm super proud of Dean for saying all that, even though he definitely does need Sam's help. Meg asks who Sam was talking to. He says it was his brother saying goodbye. A great ending to a great scene. I sometimes sass the heart-to-heart moments, and this show does have too many for my liking, but that was a great one. Back to Dean, who's talking to some expert, and I immediately hate him because he played a real ass-butt in the show Upload, but I'll try to keep an open mind here. Dean's asking about pagan rituals in the area. He says the people from the town are largely of Scandinavian descent. Dean asks about any gods that could be related to an orchard. He sees a scarecrow in a picture representing the Vanir, Norse gods of protection and prosperity, which kept the villages safe from harm. Villagers built effigies of them in their fields, some sacrificing people to them, one male and one female. And it was connected to a sacred tree. So Dean figures he'll torch the sacred tree. And it might just be because of Upload, but I'm really getting suspicious vibes from this guy. Okay, that one actually startled me. The townspeople are talking tensely about the sacrifices. They're begging the older guy, Harley, to do something. He's reluctant. Also, he was in a bunch of Outer Limits episodes, in case you were wondering where you know him from. I mean, he's also in a lot of other stuff, but that's where I know him from. Then it's revealed that they'll be sacrificing Dean and Emily. You know, for the common good. Back to Sam, who's worried about his bro, who isn't answering his phone. Meg's upset that he's going back to him, tries to get him to go with her, but Sam leaves. Good on ya, bud. I sure hope you arrive just in the nick of time. Who am I kidding? Of course he will. Back to the sacrifices. We get confirmation that the niece didn't know about the Scarecrow thing. Dean asks if she knows about any sacred tree around. Apparently, the immigrants brought an apple tree called the First Tree with them when they first traveled there. Then the townspeople take them and tie them to a tree. Dean guilt trips them, rightly. Then Emily does too, even more rightly. Her uncle's broken up about it, but her aunt's a cold, hard bitch. Also, she looks a lot like Hillary Clinton, but that's not really relevant. And don't you be coming into the comments dissing my girl Hillary. She's been through enough, damn it. Dean says he's working on a plan. Hours pass. Dean again says he's working on a plan. Must be a hell of a plan. There are footsteps. They're scared. It's Sam. Phew. Turns out he stole a car to get there. Won't be the last time. The Scarecrow's not on its perch. They start running. Then the townspeople pop up. Dang, these folks are surprisingly good at sacrificing people. Now, I don't know about you, but at this point, looking at the older couple standing in the Scarecrow's sacrifice orchard, I found myself wondering, does the couple have to be young? And my question was very quickly answered as Uncle gets stabbed through the chest and dragged away as his awful wife screams and screams while I laugh and laugh. The townspeople scatter. In the morning, the boys and the girl find the tree. It has symbols carved into it. Sam pours gas on it, and the girl tosses a burning stick onto it, dooming the town and all its terrible, murderous citizens. Screw 'em, I say. The boys see her off on a bus to Boston. Sam's a bit annoyed that the murderous townspeople won't get their comeuppance, aside from the aunt and uncle, who certainly got their comeuppance, but I guess that's life. At least their town will slowly die. Dean half-heartedly offers to drop Sam off somewhere, but Sam decides to stick around, because they're all that's left. Then Dean's all sarcastic about how schmaltzy Sam's being, as if he hadn't been just as schmaltzy the day before. That's toxic masculinity for you. Back to Meg, who's still hitchhiking. She asks to pull over. He does. She pulls out a chalice. Says she has to make a call. Then she slices his throat and collects his blood in the chalice. Remember earlier when she said she had to cut him loose? It was a pun! Anyway, she does a little chant and talks into the blood foam. She's confused why her boss wanted her to let Sam go instead of stopping the boys. She gets a reply that we don't hear. She says, "Yes, father." Cut to black. And that's the episode. It's a good one. The Scarecrow was super creepy, the kills were quite gruesome, and I really liked the character development between the boys. Plus the twist with Meg at the end was pretty neat, and it actually wasn't foreshadowed too obviously. Now, I found the whole townspeople sacrificing people for the good of their town thing a bit corny and predictable, and as I mentioned, the inconsistent speed and stealthiness of the Scarecrow was a bit annoying, but those are minor flaws in an otherwise great episode. I think I'll give this one my very first 9 out of 10. Very enjoyable, good character development, and a little hint of an overarching plot as a cherry on top. But hey, let me know what you think in the comments. Also remember, if there's one of my fun polls in the comments, please fill it out, because I'm really trying to get this game show thing off the ground. Anyway, this has been SupeRonpoNatural. Until next time, stay safe, stay sane, and stay smiling.